all the time.
My dad was the only child born to Abdul Karim and Rashida Khartoum. He was born in the British Raj in an area now known as Bangladesh in 1932. Reliability questionable. See, my dad didn't actually know his date of birth when he came to Britain, so he just made one up. He was born into a family of servants, and my granddad was very poor. At the age of 8, he left home, started work, and took up smoking. He never learned to read or write. Daughters of the Korea Revolution is a solo show that I've made for a small audience, and my audience sit around a table and I basically just tell them stories about my dad. In this particular performance, like food is integral to the story. One, because my dad's a chef, and two, I wanted to create that restaurant-y environment, but also a home environment. I think that a lot of my family stories are around food. I love food. I love cooking it, I love eating it, I love the sort of community around it. It's a big part of my story, therefore it probably will be reflected in any art that I make. I was the last child born to Michael and Sabiha Islam. I was born in St Mary's Hospital in Manchester in 1990 to a restaurant proprietor, according to my birth certificate. I went to Stretford Grammar School and I've lived in Manchester for my whole life. My dad had 5 kids with my mum. They were Shanor, Hasina, Selena, Shahina and me, Afreena. And he had a son from a previous marriage called Robert. And we all grew up in an Indian restaurant.
Today we're celebrating the Bengali New Year. What we're doing is we're having a pitta party, which is a pitta is like
Call it a snack.
It's like a snack. I don't like sweet stuff. Who made that? Yasmin Bobby. But it's really sort of a niche thing of Bangladesh where they have different ones in different areas of Bangladesh. So from where I'm from in Chittagong, that won't be the same as the pitta in Sylhet, suppose. And they're usually sort of passed down as well. So if the mother knows, she will sort of teach her daughter and so on and so forth. So it's like a story that gets passed down really through food.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's because it's so we do pittas because that's what we've noticed is it's a common thread for women really. I think it's not maybe the cooking, but it's the food. It does bring us together as a family, just all of us eating together.
Dad wasn't always part of like our eating because he worked 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that was like, so he would leave home around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and he wouldn't reach home until 6 o'clock in the morning the following morning. So he would sleep until about like 12-ish and then have his breakfast then. And my dad always had golden shred orange marmalade on toast, and that was what he ate with a cup of tea.
For me, with the show had so many different motivations behind it, and it initially came from a place of like, I'm sick of seeing the news, all these statistics about immigrants and all this stuff about how immigration is bad and stuff. and thinking, you know, my dad worked so hard his whole life, grafted, paid into this economy, you know, is dead English.
Integrated.
Exactly. Like, the guy wore his suits all the time and his cravat, and, you know, and he smokes his cigars, and he was just so, you know, English.
He makes the best roast dinners.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
You know, his Yorkshire puds and everything. He's just great at. Essentially, all he is a white man with a brown face.
So I learned how to cook off my mum. She went on holiday, and then by this point my dad had lost capacity, and I was expected to cook for everyone. By everyone I mean my dad and my brother. So I just rang her. I was like, right, okay, I've got this on your mum, what do I do? And even though I'd watched her all my life, she stayed on the phone with me for an hour whilst I cooked this curry, and that's how I learned. Yeah, it's looking all right, this. I'm quite excited for it. It's so strange saying this as an adult, because it's like, it's really an infant. My mum still feeds me with her hand, like when she's about, and if I've been working like really hard, or if something's happened, or she just feels like it, she'll just feed me by hand, and it tastes so much nicer. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. With the spoon, you kind of don't get the same ratio of stuff that you want. My mum does that, but my dad's never ate with his hands. He's always ate with a spoon and a fork, and you know, my dad's very proper, very English, you know. He won't do anything that would make him look not. Being the child of an immigrant has its own specific, like, issues, because your identity is so torn. You're part British, part not really accepted by Britain, but not really fitting in. Like, certainly I don't feel like I fit in the Asian community. I wanted to, you know, pursue artistic things, and my family very much were like, no, like, when I say family, my parents, they wanted me to, you know, be a lawyer or a doctor or something. But having worked hard for 10 years, like a few years ago, my parents started to see the value of what that has brought to my life and what I'm doing with it. And I've just come to a point where I'm just like, this is me, and I'm not going to be for anyone, just me.